Right, you guys know what time it is. I get excited every Thursday for these shows, but tonight is a special show, you guys. Every Thursday, we come into the locker room and we bring people from the industry that have lived it, not just talking about football, that have lived football and want to give back to you guys. And tonight's no different. We got a hell of a guest in the locker room for tonight's show. So let me get started with the gentleman that always holds me down in the locker room, my boy from St. Louis, the one that always has the right answers to your questions, and that is none other than Q, the Guru. What's going on, Guru?
What's going on, Coach? What's going on, man? We got another good show. It's another Thursday, and it go a little something like this.
It go a little something like this. So I'm excited, man. And I know I come in here every Thursday, and it seems like it's somebody that either I know or that Guru knows that we bringing in to shed some love on you, to give you some advice, some guidance, to share their story. And tonight, I've got someone who is basically a brother from another mother. This is somebody that I've known since high school. We're going to get into a couple pictures here that might embarrass him a little bit, but played at the University of Colorado together. Amazing career, you guys. All Big 12 conference performer. Performed also high in the classroom. I'll get into that a little bit. Then went on to play in the NFL, drafted by the Colts in the third round, 2003, and then played for a few other teams, our hometown Niners being one of them. And like I said, from way back in the day, some pictures right here of us together. And once again, saw this man come from a dream to a reality, and doing big things now with his family. So I want to get into it, man. D, obviously a pleasure to have you on. And I know you're a busy man, so thank you for coming in the locker room, dude.
Oh, it's been long overdue. Thanks for having me. It's all love. It's all love.
No doubt, man. So I know the family got out of town. It was my chance to sneak in there and get you on the show. And a lot of people from back in the gap, as Q would say, back in the high school days, college days, I know coming in already chiming in on the comments, man. So I see. Actually, my aunt just popped in here. She said, hello, fellas, what's going on? And we see a few other people. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's get right into it, man. If you're joining us for the first time, like I said, we bring in somebody from the industry, and then we cover the key topics, the things that pertain to you. So let's get into our first topic. And I'm pumped up to have you on, D, because obviously, man, you had a career that most don't get to enjoy, and it's not a I know the kids say they're him nowadays, but it's not something that you do on your own, and I know that your brother was key for you coming up, for your success. In your opinion, do you have the success you had without him, and does somebody need a mentor or a wingman to get through the industry the way you did?
My brother was, man, like the ultimate like support system for me growing up, and it was just he already lived, especially in our neighborhood, coming from a impoverished neighborhood. He told me how my friends was gonna be acting, and um, he helped me navigate my choices to Reardon, which I think was probably one of my best decisions, because it was college prep, um, all boys. So we really had a focus, right? We were trying to get to the next level. We didn't have that many distractions, so yeah, he kept me out of a lot of trouble. That I could have easily got into. I think mentors are like pivotal landmarks, along your journey. They help you, encourage you. I remember my Pop Warner coach was encouraging me. He had some kids come through the program that were already at university status. Reaching back, having phone conversations. Just trying to spark that interest. And I got to credit my brother on, actually he's the one who got me interested in engineering. I remember growing up, there was like this Bechtel engineering program, some little summer program. You think nothing of it, but he signed me up and got me involved, and next thing it's become my major. So much love,
Do
credit.
you think you would
It's
have
been a
the same
blessing.
success without him? I mean, obviously you got physical talent, but was there a extra drive or insight that you feel like you received that pushed you over the top?
I mean, it was definitely an assistance and a help, and I probably wouldn't have got there without him. There could have been pitfalls that I easily walked into without,
Mhm.
that level of trust in somebody who was actually looking out for my best interests.
Okay, that's
Truthfully.
big right there. That's big. So, leading on to our next topic, and I know that Q, you have people in your life that were integral and
Oh,
help
definitely.
moving you forward.
Definitely.
And your coach, you always talk about your coach too. And
Oh, yeah.
speaking of coaches, this is some unfortunate news for a coach. Pat Fitzgerald, the Northwestern head coach, no longer got fired because of really culture issues, you guys, that caught them in some trouble. There was some hazing going on. It looks like some athletes are coming back and saying that they feel like there was a little bit of a racist culture at Northwestern, which is kind of like an East Coast Stanford. So he was there for years. And obviously the team wasn't as good as they were in the past. I think that Donald and I might be able to speak on this a little bit because, as you see in this picture, he was actually a coach at CU, a grad assistant when we were there. So I'll start with you, Q. He's saying he didn't know about it. In your opinion, does a coach have to know everything and should know everything that's going on in the program? And should they fall on the sword if they don't, if it's proven they don't?
I feel like they paid to. I mean, you can go back to that Penn State situation. You really think Coach Paterno didn't know all that? Of course he did. The coaches always know. Just like Coach Carroll knew Reggie was getting paid. He knew Matt Liner was getting paid. The head coach always knows. Everything filters back down to the head coach. Whether it hits the media, how it hits the media, whatever the case may be. If nobody knows anything, the head coach always knows. T, remember when we used to talk? We used to always talk, and I tell you those Lawrence Phillips stories. Coach Osborne always knew everything, always did. So the head coach always knows what's going on. So yeah, absolutely, you the top guy, and it's your job to keep control of your program, your staff as well as your players. So yeah, I mean, if something like this, I mean, if he's got to go and they need to reestablish better culture, then you're gonna have to start from the top down.
Okay, well, right there you got it. Especially when you're making that type of money.
Yeah,
Talk to me, D. If there's hazing going on, if there's bad culture stuff, there's bad seats, cancers in the locker room. Is it up to the head coach to know? And if he doesn't know, should he still fall on the sword?
Absolutely. I'm in complete agreement with Q. Obviously he paid handsomely, and he's probably still gonna get that guaranteed either.
Right.
In this process. So, you the captain of the ship, right?
Yeah,
so the boat going down, you got to stay on the boat and you got to take the fall for sure. He's the head guy of the culture of that football program. Brings in big revenue for the university, and if you're looking at it as a business, he's probably the lead executive for that university in that specific division, which generates a lot of income. So if you make a big mistake that costs the university these headlines, you got to take the fall.
Absolutely.
I see Coach Foss coming in, and he said my nephew played for Coach Fitz. So yeah, I mean he's been there for years. I think over a decade, which is
long
rare
time
in football today. So for him to fall on the sword in this manner, I know that hurts. I think he's got a lawyer and lawyered up. So we're gonna see who was in the right and who was in the wrong. We got my mother-in-law checking in from Denver, former Buffalo, and she says can't wait for the show with the great Donald Strickland. She loves D, and of course Mama Cindy Hernandez says hello from Denver as well. So we know you guys are going to tune into this one, and we appreciate you guys as always. We are on to our next topic. you guys. And this one, I'm glad that we had you on, D, because sometimes athletes, especially when they're playing at the high D1 level, they don't stretch as far academically. And a lot of people saw your success on the field, but they have no idea, man, that you majored in engineering and you didn't just dip your toe in and then change your major. You actually graduated with an engineering degree. Colorado has a magnificent engineering program. And I want to ask you, we'll start off with you. You mentioned your brother saying push yourself academically, but I know there were times it had to get tough. How hard should these athletes really be pushing themselves with all the pressure they have on themselves athletically on in the classroom?
I come from a household, my parents actually pushed, academics heavily. I couldn't participate in sports if my academics wasn't right. And a lot of people don't know this, but, choosing CU, it was primarily because they let me in engineering school. And that's kind of, I had a foresight of that being something to fall back on. Because, T, I've experienced, many injuries, and that began in high school. So I knew it wasn't a sure thing that I was going to play professional. I didn't even know I was going to play professional. It was just a work ethic that was ingrained in me to continue, to persevere through challenges, and work hard and compete at everything, So you don't know that you're going to get there. All you can do is just work towards a goal. But engineering was very important for me just because it's actually kind of what I'm involved with now. I actually started in architectural engineering when I first began. And back to the whole mentoring part of this show, I met a teacher during my freshman year, and I redshirted, which was a blessing in disguise. So it allowed me to get adjusted to the demand of, balancing practice and the workload. We were coming from a different environment, so I was grateful that I actually redshirted, and it was kind of forced to redshirt. But it was a teacher, and we're still so close today. Janet DeGrazia, she was my mechanical engineering teacher. She gave me my first D ever, in a class. And it was like a shocker. It was like, I don't know if I can manage this, but, she encouraged me like, a mother, and looked at her, and we developed a relationship. She just groomed me and encouraged me and kept challenging me and pushed me. And she
So
was
is it a little bit because of the support you felt like?
Definitely.
Is that
definitely.
something that the athletes should look at?
And they have, programs established for us, that we can take advantage of. But I could have easily, switched majors, that year when it got difficult. But what's crazy is I wouldn't have been able to complete what I'm involved in now if I hadn't have done what I did then. So God has a real plan, for something like far out. And it works. But it is about balancing and what you're able to handle. And I think both, can be equally weighted, chasing a career, which will, the average lasts 3 years, or you can chase something that's, decades in the making for you to perfect your craft in. So I think highly of them both.
That's big right there. And obviously, every athlete, you got to judge your own situation. Q, talk to me, because I remember how it was for me, man. They got my grades. I thought I was going to do media communications. And they said, this ain't going to work. You're going to switch to these classes, or we're going to send you back home. And I said, I don't want to get sent back home, man.
Right.
So talk to me. These kids got a lot of pressure on them. They getting the NIL deals. They got a lot of TV dates. How hard should these kids be pushing? Should I be going pre-med?
I mean, to be honest with you, I guess the same thing, D. Strickland was saying. I mean, man, my mom was a teacher in her own right for like 35 years back. So it was like education was at the top of the list. That's really why she had pushed me so hard to go to Kansas. School wasn't really even on my map at all. So yeah, it's coming in freshman year and really trying to find a balance, and that's extremely difficult. I mean, while you joking, I actually started off at pre-med, freshman year, actually do sophomore year as well, and ended up, the workload at that time for me just got way too difficult. So I actually switched mine to media communications. Go figure.
Okay.
Because of the workload. I mean,
was that your choice or the coach's choice though?
I mean, no, that was my choice. That was actually my choice. But and my grades were good, but I just felt I felt overwhelmed stress wise, where I knew that at the time I couldn't handle it. And sometimes it's you get in your own pride and you don't utilize the resources that they provide for you. Because I'm just one of those guys think I can just, at the time you 18, 19, I can take over, I can take on the world by myself, and you can't. You can't. You have to have a support system. And for the most part, your university will provide that, through the athletic department or, whomever, they'll provide resources. So make sure that you utilize that. But really, find out. It's hard to find out what you really want to do. But once you get that nailed down, you can't be where even though you love the ball, but let that affect, your alternate route for being successful with your major. So you got to find that balance at some point.
But you got to show up because they're paying for ball.
I'm telling you, go. Hey, 6 a.m. Y'all tell these people 6 a.m. workouts, 8 a.m. class.
Right.
Figure it out. Yeah. And that's what it is.
And I had to have some flexibility with the coaches and teachers in both, because sometimes I had to miss practice in order to attend some classes that was necessary in order for me to graduate. And if you're not, performing on the field still, then they'll try to input it and make you change your major potentially.
Yeah, either that, or if you fighting for a starting spot, you might end up a 2 because the coach will get disgruntled. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of these coaches, see, that's the thing about the inside track. Guru's about to give y'all some sauce. A lot of these coaches, they'll get disgruntled if you focus too much on academics. They don't like that.
Depending on the school you're at.
Depending on the school, right? Because they brought you here to ball.
Right.
So they don't care. And that's the part that they don't tell you. And that's real. It's a lot of coaches out here, head coaches.
Oh yeah,
position, because they don't care. They care about Saturday. They don't care about
Steve Sarkisian trying to hear about a test and he about to go play Oklahoma or Alabama in the SEC.
Hey, it's a y'all remember the program, right? One of my favorite movies. Y'all remember the program? It's his line in the program, right? And the dude said, "When was the last time you saw 70,000 people show up to do a science to watch a science project?" Remember he said that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So So it's one of those things where you really
it's your priority.
But really
priority, and it's your coach priority necessarily.
Right, but again, as you heard, parents, coaches, and players, what D Strick was saying, that it goes back really the right university in the first place.
There you go. All right, you guys. So
there it is.
Maybe a topic that we got to bring up a little bit down the road too, because some of you guys are gonna have to make that decision. Do I go to Stanford and maybe not go to a bowl game, but I can be an engineer, or do I go to Texas? And I'm in bowl games, but they're not feeling me being an engineer. So you guys got to keep that in mind. On to our next topic. And this one caught my attention, and obviously the attention of social media. But young Christian McCaffrey, we're talking 49ers, 49ers superstar running back, talking Stanford, decided that he's about to get married. Model, Instagram fame for the young lady. And everybody seems like it's a great hookup. You got J.J. Watt, and he dates or he's married to a lady who used to play soccer. You got, of course, Aaron Ross and Sanjay. She's a track woman. So, I wanted to bring it back around to you guys, because sometimes the significant other relationships don't go well, like with Greg Hardy or with the infamous Ray Rice. So I thought you guys were two great gentlemen to talk to these young men that are going to be watching this, whether recorded or live. Q, we'll start with you. You got a son. He's about to go to Florida State, and he got some potential.
Right.
You know there's some ladies on campus, and son probably gonna do what young Guru gonna do.
Do what it do.
The second version. What's your advice? What's your advice to your son, man? Because he can get distracted. I mean, should he be dating another athlete? Are you telling him don't date at all? What's the Guru's advice to his young son?
Ah, man. I mean, me, from my personal experience, I say don't even have a girlfriend in college at all. I'm serious, if you can help it. And female athletes, vice versa. But I will say this, I'm sorry. I'm ladies, I'm kind of biased. Me personally, if you are going to date in college, I feel like maybe it should be a female athlete because she has something to lose like you do.
Okay.
She has something to lose. Someone from the regular student body don't have as much to lose. They maybe have something, but not like you do. But if you have a girlfriend and she's on a volleyball team and a track team or something like that, she's a student athlete. She understands the workload, but she's there for a job too.
Okay. So that would be something that you would advise him.
That's
to keep
what
in
I would
mind.
advise.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Talk to
Absolutely.
me, young Strick, because you got two coming up in the house. And they some young, handsome nephews looking handsome. So some things going to be happening. What's your advice to Cruz and Dash?
Man, don't get married till you're 30 at least.
40.
At least.
Okay.
Yeah. At
45.
least. You gotta look like but definitely while you're in college, this is, exploration time. You're still trying to discover yourself. Focus on your craft, man. Focus on ways you're gonna get the bag, and then everything else is gonna follow you. So, man,
you don't think there's a female possibly that could be an enhancement to you getting the bag?
No, there is, and I got credit my wife. She's a go getter, inspiring me, to still go for my dreams and stuff like that. So there are possibilities, and a lot of marriages do start off in college. So you might find your wife there, most likely. But in the same instance, it's what's more important to you, at that point. And right there, you're on scholarship, you're trying to get a degree, if you got a partner, that's gonna help you study, and do, stay out the party club scene, then so be it. Take that route, but it varies from individual to individual.
It does.
And I don't like that, attention more so or less. I want to be, off the grid, to be honest. That's just my speed, though,
Yeah.
That's why you guys can't tell, but he in the mountains right now.
Right.
But you ain't going to find him.
Yeah, but good luck to Christian McCaffrey, though. Forever, ever.
Yeah.
What just happened to Tom Brady?
Somebody was able to tackle him.
What happened to Tom Brady? He the GOAT.
Man. Yeah, I'm telling
you. And then started not being able to throw deep.
Man, you're going to see 2-3 out there next season fumbling. He running around routes, he picking up the blitz.
Shanahan knocking at the house, trying to talk to the wife.
Man,
come on. No, we need a bowl, Christian. We need a bowl. Stay focused, baby. So, no, you young athletes out there on a serious tip. I'm in between the board. They saying, hey, as best as you can, stay focused on ball. I believe on that, but I do think there are some special ladies out there that could possibly be an asset. So you got to manage that. You got to trust whoever your boys are that you trust, or your parents that are saying, she might not be the one, or you better not let her go. You got to trust the right people in your life. So that's a good one. And I see some people coming in here. Who's this saying Big Buffs? Big LA Spice Vault is coming in and saying go Buffs. And then Coach Foss says you got it, Jimmy, for sure. What's Jimmy talking about? Keep her on the track team. There you go. Yeah, we got a former teammate, Jimmy, Michael Lewis. If he checks this out, shouts out. His wife was on the track team. Plus, he was a hell of a football player. And I know their kids are coming down the pipe. So there you go right there. On to our next one, you guys. And this one is a good one, especially with these gentlemen, because these guys played multiple sports. coming up back in the day. But this is one that caught my attention, caught a lot of people's attention. And then I know, Q, we talked offline about
all the
this.
time, yeah.
But former Clemson quarterback, amazing 5-star recruit coming out of high school, DJ Uiagalelei. We've had his dad on, Big Dave, and he got picked up, man. He's with Oregon State right now, slotted to be their starting quarterback this year. But, hey, the Dodgers said, what's the risk? Let's take him in the 20th round. And he was throwing 95 in high school.
Yeah,
that was
throwing
junior
gas.
year.
Yeah.
Junior
throwing
year.
gas, man.
So talk to me a little bit. I'll start with you, D, because you were a hell of a track runner. Let's put the hat on you, the college coach hat. Let's say you're back at our alma mater, CU, and you're looking at DB film. You got 2 4-star kids. Are you giving a little more leverage to the one that is the multi-sport kid? Or is it pretty even if this kid didn't do anything else?
This is a tough question. I think I think it's pretty even, but I do like the multi-sport athlete.
Dynamic.
Being able to, that means he can handle multiple things, be double tasked. Obviously, Deion Sanders, prime example, being 2-sport, athlete. But you do, as a head coach, want the center of the attention of the sport that you want them in. So it could bring some conflict there, but it's anything to land the recruit these days. So
that's true.
If you're going to, give him an opportunity to see what he can do in that field. I wish I would have kind of loved baseball, because knowing what I know about the football business side, I wish I would have, had some, affirmation from my father to go that route, because that's longevity, less injury, guarantees, football, they're just now coming to the guarantee point of, contracts, but that's only for the quarterback. And why is that? Because they're not getting hit as often as everybody else is.
True. That's true.
Great point right there. Talk to me, Q. I know you were an actual baseball player.
Yeah.
You think this is a wise move on the Dodgers side? If you were a DB coach, would you give a little more weight to a kid that does more than one sport?
I mean, I would. I mean, if you look back at probably some of the greatest athletes that you can name, if you put together a 10-person list, maybe even a 20-person list, I'd say 90% of those guys are all 2-sport players. There's Tony Gonzalez. You had Julius Peppers. John Elway was a pitcher. I believe Dan Marino was a pitcher. So I mean, you can keep going all the way down the line, man. I mean, a lot of times it's when you play another sport, it just helps you. It helps you develop in other ways when that happens, when you do that. And that's why you did somehow some kind of way develop to be, in a lot of cases, a cut above a lot of other kids that don't play, that only play one sport. And that's unfortunate now, because like we talk all the time, it's so many camps, and all this 7-on-7, that a lot of kids that probably should be or could be 2-sport athletes, are putting so much focus on just football because of that fact. But I'll tell anybody, God knows the injuries that I've sustained at getting my age and waking up and soul is out of whack and everything. Especially if you play baseball, I love football, but don't put the bat down. So if I'm Big Dave, I keep the kid on the mound as long as I possibly could, because I'd rather in some cases see him on the mound, like you were saying, D, longevity, throwing gas off the mound, than some DN knocking his lights out and you end up, telling, down the road.
No, that's big. That's going to be an interesting development. Once again, he's the starting quarterback right now at Oregon State, but he hasn't played baseball in about 4 years. But when he did, he was throwing the heat, and the Dodgers said, hey, we'll take a flyer. He's an LA boy. We in LA. Maybe if football don't work out this year, we'll take a flyer. So you athletes, keep that in mind. Not only is it going to pertain to helping you now, but maybe even down the road, you may revisit that baby if you were deep in it You know, so you guys, we'll check that out, see how it unfolds. I see the great Jimmy Rucker saying Bo Jackson and Jim Brown were great lacrosse
a lot of
players.
people, a lot of people don't know Ken Griffey Jr. was an all-world wide receiver. People don't even know. Oh man, Google it. He was an all-world wide dude, unstoppable. But obviously we know, it's Griff, but dude, he was unstoppable at wide receiver. A dog.
I mean, but especially like in high school, middle school, you want to be, doing multi sports, to get busy working on your wind and conditioning and all that's just going to be beneficial. Track, you can't teach speed in football. You either got it or you don't.
Right.
And track helps you, develop that. So
it's real interesting. And if somebody could do the data or the case study, because I think these kids are a lot more skilled because they are playing football year round. They're a lot more polished in their back pedal and their 5-step drop. Whatever, they don't even do 5-step drop anymore. But they are getting more injuries in certain aspects.
They are.
Like you said, maybe speed isn't as fast as it could be. So definitely something to keep in mind. And all of you athletes got to make your personal decision. Just because somebody else is doing something and they're just doing 7-on and showcases and, don't quit playing basketball or track or whatever it is that you do. Lacrosse. I know you got your son playing lacrosse.
Absolutely. Go ahead, D.
No, one of the best conditionings you can do is get in swimming. Do some laps. I did.
Well, you used to do gymnastics.
I did that too, and I got to credit, acrobatics as being like the foundation.
Yeah.
The foundation of flexibility, all that stuff matters when it comes to being an athlete.
Totally.
It's less injuries, even though I experienced a lot of injuries. But my flexibility, I think, definitely enabled me to be a great DB, potentially a good DB. To turn hips, all of that stuff.
I agree. I mean, I remember, because my father played baseball as well. He was a pitcher, good friends with Dusty Baker, and they played back in the gap. But he always told me, well, hey, if you can't, with baseball, I play center and left. Well, if you could track a pop fly, you're not gonna drop a punt. If you're a wide receiver and it's a shot in the gap, well, you catch a ball this big, you're not gonna drop a post. You see what I mean? It especially with baseball, track obviously with speed, but with baseball, I love because baseball, it requires you to develop a totally different type of hand-eye coordination that other sports just don't make you develop like that. Like you talking about trying to track a 90-mile-an-hour baseball from here to the plate. Your hand-eye coordination is on a totally. That's why I have a totally different respect for those, like for MLB players, like their hand-eye coordination, like Mike Trout and those guys.
What about this dude right here? I mean, to do it in one day,
man.
I'm running from people that are trying to catch me because I just caught a punt, and then later on in the day, I'm hitting fastballs.
Yeah, man. It is other than him. Same day. Other than him and Bo, man, like Jim, I'd say him, Bo, and Jim Thorpe are the greatest athletes of all time because those are the only 3 guys to do it at the level that they did it in multiple sports. That's insane. We probably won't see that again.
No.
Maybe because of time, not skill, but maybe limited because of time. Jackie Robinson probably could have done.
He did play. He played tail at UCLA. Yeah, he was nice too. He was nice.
Could have done it.
Yeah.
So no, that's some.
It was nice.
Hey, dual sports is dying a little bit, you guys.
It is.
Get back in it.
It is.
Big
man.
Jimmy Rucker says dual sports, and I know you got a son, Jimmy. Dual sport athletes are great athletes. The fast twitch muscles are developing. One time, somebody asked me, "Hey, what's the definition of an athlete?" And I said, "Someone who looks natural." In any sport you put them in. You put them on the tennis court, put them on the soccer field, basketball.
It don't matter. That's an athlete.
So that's the deal right there. All right, you guys, we are on to our next portion of the show. And a lot of people probably been waiting for us to get to this portion of the show. This is the lightning round. And if you are joining us for the first time, you guys, this is our version of word association. Word is in the lightning round. whoever our guest is has 60 seconds. 60 seconds, y'all, to go through our list of people, our list of either or, and it's straight from the dome. This is freestyle. You know we're live, unfiltered. Probably the people watching this. It's probably some Colorado people watching this, wondering what's going on in Donald's mind. You about to find out. Since I know this, brother, I got a pretty good list, I would say. You ready to go, D?
Ready.
All right, man. Unfiltered. I know. I don't know if Dash or Cruz will watch, but we're gonna keep it at least PG-13 for the good crowd. Yeah. And then let me get my stopwatch ready. I got you at zeros, brother. So I ain't cheating you. Let me get my list ready here. Now we don't just do this for fun. There's a few elements to it. So one, obviously, you got 60 seconds. Two, we're going to give you one extra at the end for tech delay because we may have a little delay. So we're going to give you one extra at the end for tech delay. And then the number's 15. You got to get to 15. If you can get to 15, 15 is no joke. So 14 plus the 1 ties you. So you want to get 15 or higher. So if you can get to 15, brother, then dinner on me. Maybe this weekend if I see you this weekend. All right.
T, Jimmy says 7 still looking for you, dog.
Hey, I'm watching out for Mike Bishop. He pull up on me, Jimmy. He seemed like
he said he gonna pull up, dog. 7 ain't the guy. He gonna pull up. He gonna catch you slipping. Watch. We gonna be on location. He gonna show up on the sideline, dog.
And he said I cheated him. So I show everybody. So everybody know I show. Hold on, let me go back. I always show now.
You need to put something like behind you where it's
Shaka. Okay, man, we need a sponsor. Shot clock sponsor. Shot help us get our numbers up. We're gonna get a shot clock sponsor. So all right, lightning round is about to go down with your very own Donald Strickland. All right, number 4.
Oh boy.
Oh, man.
Number 1, first thing that comes to your mind. Archbishop Reardon, go.
Great decision.
Doc Crease.
Oh, legend.
Best wide receiver you ever covered.
Marvin Harrison in practice.
Lobster or crab.
Dungeness crab.
Kim Peralta.
Hell of a coach. Hell of a guy.
Darrell Revis.
Best cornerback.
Boulder, Colorado.
One of the best decisions I made. Second home.
Outcast or Bone Thugs.
Bone Thugs.
Frank Gore or Christian McCaffrey.
Frank Gore.
Favorite Bay Area restaurant. 51 seconds.
The Crab House.
Rick Neuheisel.
Slick Rick.
Okay, just roll it a little bit.
Yeah, you might have got it.
I see the engineer mind was going to work.
I see, yeah.
Yeah, one short answer. Some people try to elaborate. He was going one answer. So let's add these up. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna add in one because I know somebody watching. St. Ignatius.
Rival.
Oh, you could have went harder on them. That's our rival. That's our rival, Q. But his wife is thinking about sending his boys there. So we got to cut the short.
I was just talking to Jay Hogue about that.
It's a cold game.
So we're gonna have a petition out against you.
So
let's revisit. Let's revisit for the fans. So Archbishop Reardon, great decision. He said that. And let's count them up. So we got the 1 there. You got the Doc Crease. We're gonna revisit a couple 2. We got the best wide receiver. We're gonna cover 3. We got the Crab with the 4. We got the Kim Peralta with the 5. We got the Darrell Revis with the 6. We got the Boulder, Colorado with the 7. We got the Bone Thugs with the 8. We got the Frank Gore with the 9. We got the Crab House with the 10. And we got the Rick Neuheisel with the 11. And 1 for the extra. You hit 12, brother. That's good. That's good because 15 ain't no joke. But let's revisit.
That's a good run, though. It's a good run.
That's up there. Let's revisit. You were rolling, and then I think the Darrell Revis, the Boulder, a couple of those gotcha. But let's go right here. So you said Doc Crease, obviously legend. That was our old strength coach. You guys at the University of Colorado, rest in peace. Great decision with Reardon, and that high school decision's a big one. It's a big one. Now, let's go to the best wide receiver you ever covered. Now, you guys don't know, I was showing the 49ers pictures, but he was actually drafted in the 3rd round by the Indianapolis Colts, the Tony Dungy Indianapolis Colts, the Peyton Manning Indianapolis Colts, the Edgerrin James. They were loaded, you guys. Reggie Wayne, and then, of course, he just said Marvin Harrison. So out of all of the people that you covered in your whole life, which is a lot, you giving the crown to Marvin Harrison?
Yeah. He was like a cat, bro. Like he was just like you couldn't. And him and Peyton, that combo was just,
cerebral.
It was unstoppable. I've seen him turn McAllister around, and like in a live game, this dude did like a comeback post. And he turned Chris McAllister like around, like did a circle in the game. So
it was a legend.
Reggie nice too. Yeah, Reggie was nice. I mean, super nice. But Marvin,
Reggie was. He had that quick twitch. The way he came out of his.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, actually, D, I think you were out there. You out there with my boy Brian Fletcher. We out the same high school, so it was Brian and Dallas Clark and Brian used to talk all the time like more the way he comes out of his breaks and just may turn ACL or something.
He make everything look the same. So once you coming off the line, especially if you playing off, you don't know what he's gonna do. You gotta do react.
The 4.0 version's coming out of Ohio State.
He's faster. Right, he's the same, but he's bigger and faster.
6'4".
Dude,
That's crazy.
So picture Marvin Harrison 6'4".
Jesus, and faster.
That's what Randy Moss, but can break like somebody. Yeah,
and the boy drops no passes.
That's like Randy Moss trying to break like Torrey Holt or something like that.
Yeah, that's a mutant, man. That's crazy.
Player. So obviously Marvin Harrison and I don't know, man, if you ever sitting back fishing or doing something and you think about who was on that team that you played with from the coach and staff down, absolutely crazy to be drafted by them at that time. He said Darrell Revis. You saying he's the best cornerback you've ever seen in person?
I have to say, in person as a teammate at practice,
he might be, man. Yeah.
The way he approached practice and how he shut down every one-on-one drill, wow. and then go do it in the game.
Yeah.
Well, if you're doing it in one-on-one, the game is easy.
Exactly. So, and he just his confidence, and that's the whole. What I realized on my journey, confidence makes everything, kind of go for you.
Yeah.
Like you got to be especially as a corner.
Catalyst.
Yeah, you have to be confident all the time, and you're gonna get beat sometimes. But I seen him, one-on-one pick Randy Moss, Tom Brady off. It was just like it was the truth. It was the truth.
Yeah, he's nice.
I like Walt Harris. Walt Harris too was nice. Walt Harris was nice too.
Yeah,
Walt Harris. You play with some great Nate Clements, going with the Bone
Thugs
over the Outcast, which I expected you to. He loved Bone Thugs growing up, and then as far as Rick Neuheisel, he said Slick Rick, and that's the gentleman that recruited both of us to Colorado. So there you go. So we appreciate that, and that was a good number right there. You were humming on that one. So we're on, you guys, to our last segment of the show. We appreciate Donald having fun with us. Once again, this is somebody that I've known since he was probably 13, 14 years old. Remember this man's first high school football game as a freshman and even on varsity in college. So very special person to me. And we're on to our last segment. Q, I didn't know if you had a question, but if you guys are in the comment section, you're with us live. You know Donald, maybe you don't know Donald, but you got a question for him. You want to pick his brain on something, then do not hesitate. We're live. Put it in the comments section. We'll get that baby answered for you.
Sure.
Q, I didn't know if you had anything.
Yeah.
But,
I actually did. So, I mean, it's more along the lines, D, on the professional level. But what is it that a young player can do, as far as the league anyway, to prolong their career and have a long career like you did? I mean, we know it's football and injuries, but is it relationships? Is it work? Like, what is it that you feel like is a few key factors to help prolong, your career? Obviously, you want to stay there and get them nice checks as long as you possibly can. So, what do you feel like is the sauce on that, man?
Oh, for prolonging career. I mean, I was fortunate. Actually, I was ready to quit at some point, like around my fourth, fifth year. And then the Niner opportunity came and it kind of rejuvenated me, my spirit, because the business side is harsh, man. You got to know what business you're getting into. And it's an entertainment industry. It's just like the movies or anything, your role can switch and injury could happen. Somebody, next man up and, you out of a job looking for a new home. And, the way I kind of take care of your body is probably the biggest advice I can, advocate for. Nutrition, right? As well as, I was hurt every year of my professional career, except I think the last 2 years. And one is faith. You gotta have a faith background. I think that helps. That's always, a positive in life. Period.
Right. Yeah.
But I began with acupuncture. Acupuncture is a nice muscle release. If you find a nice, therapist who blends that with her, like deep tissue massage. And I found that person in New York, and it was just an amazing release of the tension, all the buildup from working out. And man, I played every game, I think my last year, because I began kind of really, taking care of my body, more or less. That's the biggest advice, cold tub, obviously the contrast. Learn how to train on your own, man. Go hit the beach. Swimming is a great exercise that you can influx in your training. You do like Olympic laps, bro. You have win like a marathon runner, man. Real talk.
Yeah,
if you get that into your and as a corner, as a DB, the longer you can stay fresh out there, the better you're gonna perform.
Facts.
So cardio.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to bring up one.
Too.
Yeah.
No, all of those were slam dunk to the T, and I've seen this man do all of those with my own eyes. Whether it was the running on his own at the beach, we've done a lot of beach workouts, stadium workouts, doing the swimming, the jump rope. So good stuff right there, D. He's giving you guys some game, and that's all athletes, especially you skilled kids. I wanted to ask you one, man, before we let you go, and kind of off the heels of what Q was just asking you, but you had a 9-year NFL career, man. I mean, most guys have 45 seconds, in the NFL. And as you said, you didn't expect for it to end up like that, but you were good enough and durable enough and versatile enough that it did. When I think of someone like yourself, I put you in the same line as some of the great nickel and dime people that the NFL has had, for our little era right there. That's why you were on a few different teams, but you lasted for a while. So when you think back, D, to why a D coordinator would give you a call, why a cornerback coach would give you a call when they need somebody, and you lasted so long, was that because you were smart, man? When you really think back to why you lasted so long, what was that key thing that you think really solidified that?
I kind of became comfortable in just being a role player and not the starter, even though I felt like I was capable of being a starter, but I got labeled early on as being injury prone, and once you get labels, it's hard to break them, especially in the league, unless, you prove otherwise. And it was just my, luck that every year was sort of, it was an injury or some sort. I missed a game or so, but I think I became comfortable with, and performing on special teams too, so it wasn't just, third down or whatever. It was on special teams, and that's where the live bullets are flying. That's where really the injuries, they try to take your head off. Obviously, the rules have been impacted and are changing, but that's where, no kickoff return. They had me on an onside kick, and I was a part of the front line, and I'm 180 pounds.
What?
Yeah, and you were like,
what?
Which team was that? The
Niners? That's what I want to ask. Who did that?
This was with the Niners. But I did it, and I sacrificed. I didn't. Thankfully, I didn't get hurt. But these are situations that often happen.
Let me ask you, because I'm glad you brought that up. Was it that you were that good and you could pull it off, or was it your attitude centered around it that they said keep him around? Mm-hmm. Did you ever give any shade to any coaches when they said, hey, go run down on this punt or go play safety? You didn't play safety in college. You get to the NFL, you're playing safety in the AFC Championship. Were you always, keep it real with us because we're in the locker room, were you ever pissed off and showed it? Or was it that you were, hey, just tell me what I got to do, coach, and I'm going to do it at a high level?
It came that way after I was ready to quit, but I was pissed off later. I felt like, initially Dungy essentially lied directly to my face to get me to perform when I was injured. Like our first game that home season, I missed camp because it was an injury. They trying to get me back for the first game. I'm barely on scout team that Wednesday, Thursday before the game. Right. Game time, he comes up to me personally and was like, we need you to play. We need you to play. The team needs you to play. And it was like encouraging me to step out. And I was uncomfortable. I was like, man, I didn't even practice really. You want me to... And I went out there and balled out, re-injured my leg. Tuesday come, the team, they show, plays. I dropped the interception that game too. I probably might have kept me on the team. You never know. But I dropped the interception. But I was like one of the featured plays that, that session, after the game. And then we go into walkthrough and he just, pretty much announces I'm cut. And I was like, what? I ran up to what are you talking? You just encouraged me to play. And what I realized, they was encouraging me to play to get me on a film to show that I was not injured because they were going to cut me anyway, essentially. But
that's the business.
It pissed me off. So,
and that was your intro to the business.
That was my intro. To the business. Because, I mean, that was my exit from the first team. And then, they said, you're not going to do, the combine anymore. Every time you try out for a team, you do the combine. Every time. And I went through, I remember it was like a 2-week span, and I went through 9 tryouts doing combines. And I was like, man, F this, I'm through with it. And I'm glad, I got my degree because I could fall back on it. And then that's actually how I got involved with, real estate development and stuff, is when I got cut by the Colts. I came home. I couldn't afford to buy my mom a house, so I decided to renovate it, and that was kind of my start in what I'm kind of doing right now. And she loved it, and then I found out it's a part of my family trade, and I'm carrying it forward,
That's dope.
This is a good one right here. D and great Glenn Haynes, what's going on, Glenn? Hopefully all is well, brother, and his son played DB, I believe, at West Virginia or Marshall. This one
and that was a business. That was a business, you know what I'm saying? And that was just the intro, and I was just like, that's why. And I signed a 3-year deal, and they didn't have to pay the last year of my deal. I'm like, give me some guaranteed, man.
That's wow. Glenn asked, a great show. He said, would like to hear thoughts, advice on how athletes should plan for life after sports. Well, I know you were saying, D, that you never thought you would make it as far as you did, but once you realize, hey, I'm getting drafted, I'm on the team, I'm in the NFL. When did you start thinking about what's next? Did you wait till after football, or was it before then? And do you
No,
have advice about that?
I've always had a kind of entrepreneurial spirit about me, because especially what you always, if you think about the business cycle, the owner is what's making the bank, right? We just pawns in the chess game essentially. Even though we making millions, but
well paid
in the business, we're the front line, and I just wanted to start thinking more like an executive, to be honest, and pioneer my own. But it was the work ethic that really kind of, if you have a work ethic, and it's just off GP, if you have a strong work ethic, you can make it in any industry. Facts. If you're willing to work.
Facts.
You can't be lazy. You got to go be a go-getter, man. And in any industry, you can, if you have patience, if you have persistence, and you believe in what you're doing, you can do it.
Let me ask you this, because there's going to be athletes watching this that are in the situation that Glenn's talking about, where they may be coming to their sunset on football and wondering what's going on. Do athletes, in your opinion, at the level you played at, D, do athletes have time in the offseason to really plant seeds that will help them after football, or is it too competitive?
No, they do. They do. Once you're on that level, there's people seeking you with investments. Now, discovering what's the right investment is the challenge, right? So that's why you got to be up on your game, because people are going to be selling you everything, right? Because they know you got something liquid right now. Most agents advise financial advisors to their clients, so they're pushing off. But if you know how to, like, that's all. I think Richard Sherman is dope, because he's smart enough to do his own contract and get the whole sum, right? But he was educated enough to do that.
That's Stanford, right?
Yeah.
That's Stanford.
But if you read up on law and how to,
he was an engineer. You could have done it. Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah, you could do it. So Malcolm Gladwell, the 10,000 hour rule. I don't know if that from the tipping point or, but I wholeheartedly believe in that. In order to become a professional at anything, you got to put in the hours, and it's gonna be around 10,000 of them things, at least minimum. If you do that, you can make it in any industry. But forge your relationships. I've always, never believed in burning bridges, even, in the instances that took place, through the league. Sometimes I had to stand up for myself, especially when I became a veteran. I remember an incident with a special teams coach, and he was just on me for some reason, right? And I went directly into his office one day, shut the door, and I told him, like, man, look, I'm a vet. Don't treat me like I'm no rookie. I'll do what you ask of me, but treat me, with a vet mentality. Don't treat me like no rookie. And I went out and performed, and he respected me since that day. And he was an older coach, like an OG coach. And I was like, man, nah, I done been through this routine too many times. You ain't gonna just talk to me any type of way and expect good results, for me to perform. You want me to do my best, man. Treat me like a man, and this is my job, and that's how I take it. You got to be professional and all.
Absolutely.
How much? Because I'm gonna go back to this picture right here. All the different teams you play for. In your opinion, how much does an organization, a coaching staff, really play into the performance of the players?
I think it's vital.
Like at all the teams you played for,
right?
In your head, do you already know which organization was the best during the time you played there?
I mean,
just on how it was ran.
there's a best experience as a player, best treatment as a player, where I had the most fun.
So it's
There's
layers.
variation. And what I realize now, especially how the Niners alumni engagement and my participation, while I was a player and giving back, and how that encompassed being a local. Ingratiated. I like the Niners experience was kind of like life altering, because at that moment I was ready to quit and fall back on my degree and do. I would have left, and I would have left 5 years of playing football, because I didn't know I was going to play 5 years after that moment, But at that point in my career, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be a starter. But even though somebody get hurt, I've kind of carved out this role as a nickelback, as you mentioned, and I went hard on special teams. I was versatile enough could do gunner, I could do the deep, the corner on gunner, block punts. Oh, so the more versatile, and that's why the multi-athlete is a great athlete, because the more you can do, the longer you will last, especially in football.
Yeah, true.
But you got to be open-minded. You got to be open-minded, and you got to lessen the self and think of the team first. Because I knew I could be a starter on some of these teams I was playing.
Yeah,
but I was like, okay, this the role you're gonna give me. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do my best. And the Niners pulled me out there because it was local too. And, this was my hometown team, so they got that extra just off GP.
Yeah.
But it kind of revived my career personally, because at that moment I was ready to fall back. But the Jets with Rex Ryan, and that was the experience, because I thought the Niners should have re-signed me. I was wanting to stay home, and they let me go. And actually, I got into an incident. We're going to speak on, off the field stuff. I was arrested for public intoxication. And that, and that was with the Niners. And I think that was a big red flag, even though, I did my due and apologized. But, those were some of the things I wish, looking back now, I could have turned the page. Like, we don't have to go to the club now. We could just chill at the house, play video games. Let's go hit this work. Let's go hit this workout tomorrow.
Right.
And let me go get better in my craft. I think that could have put me at all pro status, not just a 9-year pro. If I was really
some extra cash in your pocket, some extra millions.
Let's go hit the jugs machine. I can't explain how many interceptions I dropped during my career. That's like $100,000 a ball you drop, easy. So looking back, I wish I wasn't trying to hit the scene more, but we'll focus on taking, like LeBron, what are you doing? Investing in taking care of your body,
your craft,
because that's your money maker, right?
Yeah,
and your mind, finding the right investments. One of the biggest power moves I think I did with my career was I had a friend who was a trader. I got in on a Facebook deal before they went public. They went public. But this is the thing. It was down before it turned positive. So a lot of people can't stomach
that downturn.
I lost half of what I invested. In
right
the first
away.
3 months. But then I was fortunately I played another year. I didn't have to liquidate everything at that point. I just held firm, and boom, made like 400% off that investment. 400%. So 4 times whatever. So there's deals out there. Tech is forever changing. So it's kind of hard to keep up. I've been trying. I still want to do my entrepreneur stuff with visionary moments and things like that. But I invested in this house real estate, and I'm trying to complete that before I kind of take the next steps. But it's grounded me in a way that you wouldn't believe. And this has been a faith move. So sometimes you gotta walk out on faith, man. And keep
love
grinding,
it.
and keep grinding when you don't see the results. You know.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
There
a
you go.
beautiful thing about this game, though. That's what I love about this game. Is the fact that all of the work ethic, the being able to persevere and deal with, it's all transferable. It's transferable to corporate America. It's damn sure transferable, to being an entrepreneur. And that's why I've always said, even in the hiring process, when you look at companies small all the way up to Fortune 500 companies, that's why they covet student athletes and military personnel, because you have to be built different, because you've been groomed to be that, to mentally and emotionally be able to handle more than the average person. So I love this game. Football, it's just different. The things that you go through, it grooms you for life in so many ways. I don't even know. We don't even have enough time in the show. We've been over an hour. We can talk a whole nother hour about just that. So
yes, indeed.
this
yes,
game
indeed.
it's a beautiful game, man.
But there are some coaches in the league that will tell you the truth, and I was fortunate. I think Leslie Frazier told me the truth, because when I got cut by the Colts, he pulled me aside and he said, they saying a lot of things that you can't play, but I don't see that. I don't see that. That's what he said. And then VJ Vance Joseph, he's always been like a straight shooter. You could trust. Like, I knew I could trust. So he was the Niner DB coach when I was there. How blessed was that of an opportunity, for your college coach to now be your professional coach? So I knew I could trust what he was telling me. He wasn't going to tell me no BS, right? And I'm forever grateful, for the way, he kind of, came into the picture with that.
For those watching, that's VJ right there on the right, Vance Joseph. He used to be the head coach
and
of the
Anthony,
Broncos.
Yep.
Johnny went on to be the D coordinator of the Cardinals. And then VJ's, is he with what? No, he's with the Broncos. Back with the Broncos now.
Yeah, he's back with the Broncos.
So Donald was lucky. He was our coach at Colorado, but Donald also played for VJ when he was with the Niners. So he had his college coach. Him and Michael Lewis had their college coach in the pros.
That's special. You can't. That's not an everyday occurrence.
No, that's a blessing.
That was all meant to be in your hometown and everything, and that was special for you, and I know for the family too, and all the friends and the school. So, hey man, we kept you a little longer. You were gracious with us. You told us some stories that I wasn't expecting for you to tell. You spent some extra time with us, man. So I love you to death. I appreciate you.
All love, man. I love what you're doing, man. Keep encouraging, keep grooming them, man, for success, because they can take it.
No doubt. And I see the great Andy Peak, former teammate of ours, saying solid crew here. Great stuff. See my aunt jumping back in saying love this chat, and shout out to the wives. She's holding it down for the wives, who she loves, both of our wives. So we appreciate that, Auntie. But we love you guys. Hopefully you got a lot out of tonight, D. Keep working on the house, man. Definitely. I know you got a million things going on, and we'll get you back in, brother. Appreciate you.
All love, truth, man. Be safe. Stay faithful.
No doubt. All right, my man.
Buffs.
Appreciate you.
All right, you guys. So, hey, that is Donald Strickland. Like you guys, like I said, man, long time friends, Q. Held me down. Man. I held him down. Seen him go from a dream, dude. I seen him from his very first freshman, because I'm a year ahead of him. I remember his very first game in high school freshman football, and he's ripping it up too. And it was like, you know how you got to check the class underneath you, because that's gonna be your junior class. When you're a senior on varsity, they got to hold you down.
Right,
so I'm like, all right, me and HB, good friend. Shout out HB. Might be checking this. We said, man, let's go check out this young class. We heard they got someone named Strickland. And went and checked him out, man. He's doing his thing. Yeah. And then his first game on varsity, he's a sophomore. It's halftime. We playing our rival. We playing at Kezar Stadium, where the Niners used to play way back in the day.
Right.
Big stadium, nice, big, everybody out there from the city. And at halftime, he didn't play the whole first half, hadn't played the whole season. We about midway through the season. And then at halftime, coach turned to him and said, Strickland, you going in at linebacker. Dude, you must have thought he seen a goat. He was everything about 160 at the time, 170. You know, I turned around, looked at him, you must have thought he seen a goat. I said, dude, you got this, man. You got this, you know. And he went out there and balled, dude. Never looked back, man. Went to college together. And I just watched his career just skyrocket right in front of my eyes, man. 9 years in the league.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, that's storybook right there, bro. That's pure storybook right there.
And I didn't know he was going to give us as much time or as much info as he did. He brought out the Dungy story.
Well, it's a locker room.
I had already heard that. I had already heard you guys. And a lot of you guys think that, you know, the players you see and the coaches you see are always on the up and up, but you never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And I remember Tony Dungy has a part in his book that says he always told the athletes face to face that he was going to let them go if he was going to let them go. And Donald, that pissed him off. I remember when that book came out because he was like, I didn't get that treatment, you know. So yeah. I was surprised he brought that up. And you heard how they did it, where they got him on the field, showed he was healthy, and then you don't have to pay the work.
Oh, don't worry.
You know, if he's
y'all stay tuned. We'll get Coach Dungy on one of these days. Like what you said on page 39.
That'll be your part. That'll be your part.
Oh, 100%. I got you on that. I got you on that. But it's cool. Hey, that's what the locker room is. It's raw and uncut. It's no script. And that's what we're here for. So that was beautiful. Baby. That was beautiful.
Live and you know, we're bringing in people from the industry. Sometimes they're gonna open it up and share it to you live. But right there, you're hearing him say, "Hey, Tony Dungy kind of played me on that one." So you know, you guys got some great stories tonight. If you haven't already, I don't know why you haven't, but if you haven't already, please do us a favor and hit the like and subscribe button. That's your way to kind of give us our pat on the back, pay us back for this great free content. We're going to continue to bring the best of the best from the football industry in here to serve you guys, to give you some game. And it helps if our audience is growing and they see the numbers, then they want to come. And we've got some great people that we're bringing your way. So we definitely want you to get up on that. So please hit like, please hit share, subscribe to the channel, and then also share with the teammates, the coaches, the players that you know out there. Also, we are in the midst of the 2024 college football recruiting cohort. Before You Go Pro is more than just a podcast. We actually get our hands dirty. We get in the trenches with these young athletes. These are all student athletes that have come through our program now playing in college, some of them professionally. You get a film evaluation. There's a membership portal. We go through the recruiting process with you to make sure that you get the scholarship that you're looking for. There's also our college prospects page that goes to all the recruiters out there, and that's a highly vetted page. We don't just put no bums on that page. The recruiters know that they got some gems on that page. So if you want to be a part of that, check out www.beforeyougopro.com. Scroll down to the bottom, hit sign up, and get set up with that, or check us out at Before You Go Pro so that we can get you going. Make sure you get recruited. But hey, we only about a month away, Q, from the season, man.
Hey, man, it's gonna be kickoff. I'm telling you, boy. We ain't
the way, man.
Hey, like Prime said, we ain't hard to find. We ain't hard to find. I can't wait.
We see Twin Pop 14. I don't know 14. Every time I see 14, I think of Cedric.
Yeah.
So if that's Big Sid, man, much love, Cell Block. Great show, and we thank you for tuning in. We try to give some love, and then there's the Crusader, Mark Rosillo, tuning in to see his boys. We love you, Mark. Great show, Eric Taylor. We thank you guys tremendously. Please like, please share, please let everybody know, because we're gonna blow this thing up together. We are community, and we're the only one like it. So the Locker Room Show is where it's at, and we love you guys. So Q, anything for the good people before we get out?
Hey, it's like you just said, Coach. It's almost kickoff time. That's what it is.
Training camp.
Hey, y'all better get ready to strap it up. I'm telling you, it's that time. Stay injury-free, be smart, stay out of the way, get prepared for school getting back, but it's almost that time for some football.
It's that time, you guys. It comes up quick, baby. So
I'm telling
7-on-7's over, all of that's over, and Coach is going to be calling your name soon. You better be ready. All right. We love you guys. We'll see you at the top. Have a good one.